Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Everything Spice. My name is Tanya. It's Sunday, so it's my Sabbath. Just got done with church and now I'm going to be baking. Now, I'm going to share this recipe with you because Thanksgiving is this week. And every year I make a gathering table, which is basically a lot of little noshes that people can eat before the meal. Like appetizers, right? And one of the things I like to do is dips. But this year, I'm going to do it a little differently. I am going to make a bread bowl. And in that bread bowl is going to be my dip. Now, how fabulous is that? And I'm going to teach you how to do it. So right now, I'm getting the recipe from the Joy of Cooking book. Love it. It's like the Encyclopedia of Fabulous. And it is the hot rolls, Vienna rolls. But I'm making it into a bread bowl. Now, in this pan, in this handy dandy stand mixer, I got 2 egg whites. To the bowl. And what I'm doing is beating some egg whites, 2 egg whites that I separated from the yolks. And it has to come to stiff peaks because it's gonna fold into the bread dough, believe it or not, for these rolls. And in this bowl, what I'm doing is combining, and what does it have here? It has here 1 cup, no, the warm water's not in yet. What's here is 2.5 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of vegetable shortening, right? 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. The 2 egg whites are whipping in here, and right here is the water, 1/4 cup of water mixed in with 1 package or 2.5 teaspoons of dry active yeast, or active dry yeast, however you want to call it. And I'm combining this together so it's well combined, and then I'm going to add the yeast to that. Okay, once I get all these egg whites done. Once it comes to stiff peaks, then we're done. Let me check and see if it's close. It might be. Nah, it's not quite there yet. So we're gonna keep going with that, and we're gonna mix up all the ingredients here. So let's keep going. I'm gonna put it on high to get that air incorporated, which is so necessary to make the stiff peaks, they call it, okay? I'm gonna mix this in and then add my active yeast that's been hanging around for about 5 minutes. Probably more than 5 minutes, because look at this. Woo! Yeah, baby, yeah. I'm mixing it in by hand. But you can do the stand mixer with it, but right now I'm using the stand mixer for something else. So get rid of the whisk. Break open this spatula. And we'll mix this in together. And this is starting our bread. Bread, the staff of life. So all this in together, the yeast hits with the flour and creates this scientific activation. It's so good. You can smell the yeast. If we only had smell-o-vision. Bread, it is like money. Alright, looks like we are done. Let me show you what this looks like. Look how perfecto this is. Look at that. Look, see? It's like stiff peaks. And that's how you know it's ready to rock and roll, when you get to this point right here, okay? Stiff peaks. Now what you're gonna do with this is put the camera back. Put the camera back. Okay, now what we're gonna do with it is we are going to add this to that. And depending on the humidity, it's asking for like, we got to do one more thing. We have to get our water out of the microwave. Let's do that now. And this is a warmed water. 1 cup. Mix it all in. I'm going to do this by hand only because of time constraints. If I wait for the mixer, it might be too long of a time. And this is warmed water for 30 seconds that I warmed up in the microwave, okay? Keep going. And mix this in together. And look, it's already come into this beautiful little, gorgeous little mixture. And the smell, the yeast is so fabulous. All right, now at this point, we're gonna take our egg whites that we stiffened up. I'm gonna put it inside and actually fold it into the dough. This is like the first time I've ever actually seen this happen, where they use this and they fold it in. I've never quite seen this before, but this is something new. And I like trying new things, especially with bread and stuff. So we're gonna add that to it and fold it in nicely. And I don't know how that's gonna work because this is such a hotter dough and this is such a light thing. It's kind of crazy to use it up. It says fold it in, so folding it in is taking it from the middle and folding it over. And what this is supposed to do is actually lighten the bread, make it a lighter crumb. So we will find out if that's actually gonna happen. You can use this with mousses and stuff too, egg whites and folding them in, but I've never seen it done with bread before. So we're learning something new together on this show. I'm kind of excited to try this. Okay, and it's supposed to be a hot, crusty roll, because when you think about dips or soups, you can use bread bowls for soups as well. You've probably heard about that before, but dips would be just as good too. Now, at this point, you're gonna add extra dough. See how wet it is? It's way too wet at this point to be a hard, crusty rolled bread. So what we're gonna do is add some more bread. I'm using bread flour, but the recipe itself calls for all-purpose flour. And but with that said, I'm not using it because I really want to use bread flour, because I think bread flour has a lot more, what do you call it, structure, and sometimes all-purpose flour. So we're going to put a little bit at a time, fold it in with it, and depending on the time of year, the humidity in your kitchen, you might not need as much flour. You might need more if there's a lot of moisture in the air. But if it's a dry season, like this time of year is kind of getting to be more of a drier season, fall, late fall, you know, kind of like the start of like the cold season, you might need less because, you know, your heat's on now, and that can determine the humidity in your house. There can be less humidity in the house, like summertime is a lot more humidity. And then we start kneading it. But this is like starting to get there, starting to get some structure, right? Starting to look more what would you call the bread structure. Now, I got this bowl, and this is the bowl that I'm gonna rise my bread in. It's called a Banton bowl, and the Banton bowl has these little ridges, but I'm gonna use it with the cover just to ensure, because the last thing you wanna do when you're making something new is to mess it up, especially on Thanksgiving when everybody's used to the traditions that people make, you know? Every year you make the turkey, every year you make the gravy. You wanna start something new? Well, maybe not necessarily on Thanksgiving, but if we do this in advance, we have a few days before Thanksgiving starts, right? So we have a few days to get our act together and get this bread bowl perfected. And then, how fabulous would your friends and family think of you if you created this gorgeous bread bowl with a dip in it? Come on, you can use spinach dip, French onion dip. There's the choices. I mean, they're endless, let's face it. Okay, what I have to do is knead this in. So I'm gonna knead in the rest of my flour, and really it's a hand feel. This feels very light though, so I think that egg whites are really doing a wonderful job with this. So how you do kneading, if you haven't seen any of my other episodes of bread, you take your bread, right? You have to have enough flour. Don't go crazy depending on the bread. This is more of a structured bread. It needs a little bit more flour. There's some breads that need less. You take your bread, you take your dough, you grab it, fold it towards you, and then push it away. Grab it, fold it towards you, push it away. This is the traditional way of kneading bread, and then it comes together. So you might not need as much flour as the recipe is calling for. I might not need as much flour. See, I haven't even done the 2 cups, and it's calling for 2 cups. But if there's a little bit of stickage, then just add a little bit more and put it in. All right, we've gotten to the home stretch. It takes about, what it took for me was a cup of additional flour and about 7 to 10 minutes of kneading it. And sometimes, and I've seen this done, if it doesn't go fast enough, you know what you do? Slap it on the board. And look at the structure of this now. Like a baby's bottom, baby. It works. Okay, so about, let's say, here we go. It's beautiful. Okay, so what we're gonna do with this beauty, nice, beautiful baby. Okay, I got this fully floured, threw a bunch of flour on, made sure, keep going around it, right? And then take out any excess. And here we go. I'm gonna put it inside. Now, usually I'm gonna put it backwards and then toss it on this top. Toss it. Put it in backwards. So it has a little flour on the top. And then go like that, okay? So that's flour on the top. Sometimes they put like oiled, I'm not gonna oil it because it's staying inside this Banton bowl, which is the one with the ridges. Okay, so what we're doing is we're gonna cover it up in an hour. I'm gonna cover this up and put a clean tea towel or whatever you got. Cover it up here, right? And I'm gonna put it into an oven that has the light on. Don't put the heat on because this would burn. This is like what, bamboo. So put it into the oven with just the light on, the oven light on. And that's gonna go in for an hour. Hey everyone, welcome back. Now I just took this out of the oven. And look how big it is. Look how gorgeous it looks. This is amazing, but it's gonna get even more amazing. So we're gonna let the second rising commence. This is the first rising. I know, it's so pretty and beautiful, right? Yes, I went there. Yes, I went there. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this parchment in. And this parchment is going to be how we're gonna easily transfer it to the cast iron that I have preheating. Okay, I have it preheating at 425. So this is where this is gonna go back in. We're gonna reshape it. How pretty it is. It's a necessary evil, my friends. We're gonna flatten it out. We have to re-rise it. So what we're gonna do is rise for a second time. So we're gonna knead it a few minutes, okay, a few seconds, whatever the case may be. And this time, we're gonna put it into this bowl, back in the bowl again to rise again for another hour, right? And then I'm gonna put it into my preheated cast iron pan. It's gonna be so good. And it's gonna be like this Dutch oven that's gonna create this steam. I'll show you in a few minutes. So this is it. Doesn't take long to do it a second time, but you need to do it a rising a second time. So here, perfect, right? Just like that. Shape it perfectly. Go underneath, tuck it underneath. See, you're putting your hands underneath it to shape it into that beautiful bread bowl that you need. And look how perfect that is. Just like that, okay? Perfect, just like this. I love it. It's gonna go into, this time, my parchment. Let it rise a second time in this same bowl. No need to get another one. And then once it's time, we can transfer it easily out and into the hot Dutch oven. Welcome back. We're at the home stretch of this bowl. I already took this out of the preheated oven, 425. It's been sitting there for a while. It is smoking hot right now. So we don't want to touch it. Okay, now I got my residual. Remember when I separated the eggs? I kept the yolks, added some water, and we're gonna brush the top with it. Here it is. It's ready to go, my friend. Look how delicious it is. Now let's pray over it. Let's pray and see if it works. Gently take it out. Gently. We don't want to knock it down anymore. Slowly lower it into the hot Try not to touch the sides or anything, because it'll burn you, baby. Burn, baby, burn. And we don't want it to burn us. Now, this is going into this Dutch oven. Call it a Dutch oven, cast iron, whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. All right, now we're going to brush the tops. And before we do that, we might want, hang on here. Okay, now what I have here is called a lame. And it is from France, Francais. And what we're gonna do is cut a slash across of it, okay? Do it gently, not too deep. I'm gonna do a cross, okay? Cross one end, cross the other end. And the reason we do this gently, don't go too deep with it, but what you want to do, see, just like this, cross, 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 and I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. Come to the pan, see? You want to do a cross on here, and what that does, put it back here, is it releases any steam. Steam has to escape. It's going to escape one way or another. And if I'm just brushing it with this egg yolk. The greatest thing about using a cast iron or Dutch oven or whatever you want to call it is that you just cover it and it creates its own steam. So this bread is going to get nice and big, golden and crusty. You're going to uncover it for a little bit as well. So I would say maybe a half hour, check it, uncover it just to see what happens, and let it steam in the pan, right, for that half hour. Then uncover it, take the oven cover off. This is the cover. I'm gonna uncover it and let it go golden brown on the top. All right, hear the steaming? All right, so let's go in the oven, 425 for a half hour. Check the bread to make sure it's done. If it looks like it's almost ready, just uncover it so that the top gets golden brown. And we are going to show you the final product. Well, I'm going to show you the final product. Stay tuned. It's bread boules today on Everything Spice. All right, let's do the big reveal. Let's see what it looks like, my friends. Ooh, so nervous. All right, let's check it out. I had it on, covered, and now I have it uncovered. And here it is. Voila, ta-da! Look at that fabulousness. Welcome back. All right, this is it. What I'm doing is I'm taking a jar of sour cream. Any sour cream will do. Any brand. I'm gonna put it in a bowl, and we are gonna make our dip. Now this is the simple part. What I like about when you have any type of party, or when I have any type of party, I like to do something complicated and I like to do something easy, so that you're not constantly in the kitchen working on a day when you should be, you know, enjoying your friends and your family and the holidays, right? Or any type of party for that matter. So, sour cream. A package of onion soup mix. Any brand will do. I just happen to like a certain brand, but it doesn't have to be that brand. Okay. Mix it in. Look at this, I'm missing some. How could I just miss any of that? All right, we're gonna mix all of this together. Right? Yum! You can put some parsley, you can put some stuff in it, but just really mix it well. It's so simple, so easy, so yummy. All right, just like that. I'm gonna stir it in, and then I already have this pre-cut. Okay, so what I did, bring the bowl over, is I cut into it with a knife, like I pre-cut into it. So you take that first part out, and you can use that for whatever, you know what I mean? You can use it for like part of the dip, you know, like dipping into it and eating it. You don't have to, like, you know, get rid of it or waste anything. Look at this fabulous bread. I would never waste this fabulous bread. No, you don't have to take the whole thing and overstuff it. Just do a little bit. I'm just gonna show you an example. Okay, and then you just pour it in the middle. No fuss, no muss, right? Look how delicious this is. So entertainable, so delicious. And you can even like put some onions that maybe you sauteed or golden browned them in a pan, and you could put it on top of that and it would look even more fancier. This is my French onion dip. And here we go. Now this would go on your gathering table, go for your next party, and they would be completely impressed. And if you like this episode, you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it for you, please like, subscribe, and join me next time for Everything Spice. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday evening, everyone. Till next time, be safe.